back to my channel. I am Amy Serrano, yes, like the pep. We are back with the fashion predictions. I'm wearing my big sleeve, so you know I mean business, and I can't wait to dive into what is coming for 2021. I have my data, my PowerPoint I'm ready to present to you guys. It's so funny when I get some of you, those of you who are like in fashion school, and you're like, when are you gonna do your predictions? I have an assignment due. So I'm honestly flattered that you use my videos to also include them in your assignment. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm so freaking excited to talk about the 2021 trends. So the way that I predict fashion trends, we gotta look at the zeitgeist, you know what I mean? See what's going on in the culture, see what's going on around the world. Obviously, COVID is gonna be a major theme, but I also broke it down into other themes that I feel like are really important to us right now and moving forward, more so moving forward. And honestly, this is my second time filming this. I did it yesterday and it got dark really, really fast. It was like 5 p.m. and I had to use lights, and I absolutely hate using artificial light. I talk, so grab a snack, get comfortable, and let's just chill out and talk about these fashion trends that we're gonna be seeing. So the first umbrella, this theme of escapism, ties back into being home. I do feel like we're still gonna be home for a lot of 2021. You know, the last pandemic lasted about 2-3 years, so you know, history tends to repeat itself, so I'm kind of going based off that. So there is going to be this want to escape. It feels like a privilege to be out right now. And that can be in so many different ways, whether it be like dressing up, even though we are still at home. I feel like in 2020, yes, we all resorted to sweats. People are living in it. Some of them we're not going to be able to pull them out of sweats, but I do feel like some part of the population is going to want to really dress up and dress out. I honestly have been finding myself dressing up even to go to Target, like even to go to the grocery store, where that definitely wasn't the case a few months ago. I was just like, I'm gonna be in sweats, you know? And now I'm just like, okay, I'm like kind of tired of this. That inner fashion hoe wants to come out and just show up and show out. So I really do think that's going to be the case. I feel like this start of like a very decadent era. So a lot of fantasy, you can kind of see it in the Isabel Marant 2021 show, where it was like all 80s, like very freedom, very expressive, which we will talk about under the other theme. Also, you can see this in Balmain, you can see this in Louis Vuitton, and major designers. You know, there's a lot of sequin as well, sequins, which also I brought up the last pandemic. It was like 1918, the Spanish flu, right? And then like the 1920s came and it was the roaring 20s. Everybody was like super dressed up, the prohibition, like you guys get the vibe. So I feel like that could potentially happen as well this year. Maybe towards the end, where we do tend to see a little bit more sequin anyway during like the holiday season. So I'm gonna be calling out like sequin pants. I think for sure will be a thing. Or just any kind of pant that are fun like these iridescent or metallic. Is this a return of the American Apparel disco pant? My God, it kind of makes sense with this 80s. It's very this. Whew. I said we did already see a lot of sequin on the spring summer runway shows. We saw them in Celine, Louis Vuitton, Balmain, Gucci, Loewe, Valentino, Chanel. So again, major designers. Just sparkle, baby, just sparkle. We want decadence, we want glamour, we want to bring that back. Oh, and then also corsets. I feel like I talked about corsets probably like 2 years ago, but again, I feel like maybe this year we'll really see it. We already saw a little bit of it last year. The corsets really ties in with like the dressing up and this kind of like old style of dressing. You know, it's definitely not comfortable, but I've been seeing more of that corset detail through the years, and I feel like it'll be the strongest that it's ever been this year. So when it comes to fashion, you have your innovators, the ones that are creating these styles, and then you have your early adopters, you know, maybe influencers, or maybe you're the early adopter in your friend group that is the first to try out this trend. You know, you see it on somebody that innovated it, and then you're like, I want to try this trend. And then you have the early majority, which more people, you know, maybe because you did it first with your friend group, then all your friends are doing it, but not quite mainstream. And then you have your like late majority, where they're like, okay, I've seen it 50 million times as I'm scrolling on my Instagram feed. I think I'm down to try it now. You know, it's available at Zara, it's available at your local retailers now. And then you have your laggards, where everybody is like already on the out and out, and you are now down to try it. That's kind of how it works, right? So I feel like with the corsets, we're kind of in that early majority where it's become more popular, like more people are down to include this in their everyday wardrobe. And also with the dressing up, I feel like fur those like, you know, the fur-lined jackets and everything, like from Saks Pot and House of Sunny, with like the fur-lined cardigans even. Those became really trendy in 2020, so it's just like a telling sign that people are going to be moving into the direction of more dressing up, more glam, because to me fur is like the ultimate in like luxe glam. And we're talking faux fur, obviously. Like, it's 2021, baby. We do not need real fur. This is pretty good. So moving on to the other umbrella is expression. So I lightly mentioned this already. So really expressing yourself. I feel like constantly throughout my videos, I know I'm a broken record, but I'm always talking about this authenticity, being genuine, being unique. That is what everybody craves and wants and needs and is about. And we definitely see this reflected in our fashion. I feel like anything will go this year, like really mixing up patterns. And then also with this umbrella of expression, I feel like there's going to be a big renaissance of like creativity. I think there's just going to be so much more innovation, creativity in the arts, and I feel like this is going to be kind of the effect of being at home and reflecting and just like having more time to actually dive into other like passion projects. I feel like DIY is also something that I've definitely mentioned in past videos, and I feel like 2021 is definitely the year of the DIY, especially with my prediction of this renaissance. It's kind of surprising when I get messages like, oh, I just got a sewing machine. I used to believe that like the sewing machine and like making your own clothes was definitely going to be out with the old generation, because we used to just like pop into Forever 21. It's like a $5 shirt, or like, you know, it takes more money to make your own clothes sometimes. But I have seen such a influx in the youth, the young bucks getting down on the sewing machine. Like I see it on TikTok a lot. I don't know if it's like because I'm interested, you know, that For You page is real specific, but I have been seeing more and more, and even like the Depop sellers are going to be reusing, repairing, as I was talking about last year, and like the resale model definitely is going to continue. And also just like when you are in the midst of a recession, you know, obviously a lot of businesses heard in 2020, and I think that put some perspective for a lot of people, like to be more resourceful. So the flip side of this like mass-produced clothes, we are going to be wanting something more unique, like something handmade, something unusual, you know, something that somebody doesn't have and can't get. Like we love that. And I feel like we'll also be focusing on like really unexpected pairing, mixing and matching these patterns. Like, just anything goes. Like, that feels more fresh and new than like just like the matchy that we have been seeing. But don't get me wrong, monochrome will still reign, but I do feel like more and more people are going to be down to mix and match the patterns, not just like these early adopters. It'll be the majority. Popular patterns that we will be seeing in 2021 is check print in all kinds of colors, you know, whether it be bright and bold or more neutral. Like we will just be seeing more of this check print. And then also these patterns that we kind of have been seeing a little bit in 2020, but like, you know, like the swirls and like the marble and these like glitchy patterns, and 70s, a lot of 70s influence, like 70s types of that wallpaper flower, maybe even a little bit of the 60s, and we're going to be seeing it on both the tops and on pants. I feel like pants are definitely getting a little bit more fun, a little bit more funky, a little bit more 70s, whether it be like the sequin, like I'm talking about, like very disco flares, or just like some fun groovy patterns. Also, we will be seeing more of those second skin tops that we saw in 2020, like Marine Serre. Super popular, right? I feel like other brands, other designers are gonna copy that because of the success that that top had. And you know, just mixing it up with other prints though, like even maybe like check print and things like that. Also, I mentioned this last year. I mean, I hate that I keep going back to last year, but it's because, like I said, it hasn't quite made its mark. We will be seeing those cutouts more and more this year. For sure, cutouts are going to be everywhere if you haven't already been seeing them. And it's going to be in places that are really unexpected. Again, this idea of the unexpected, like the hip. The hip is having a moment in 2021, okay? We're going to get to that very shortly. Another one that I wanted to call out is Prada for their spring-summer 2021. They had like cutouts in the arms. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, what does that even mean, you know? But like I'm saying, anything goes. Anything freaking goes. So we're going to be seeing cutouts all over our garment. Another thing that I feel like we haven't really seen too much of, again, maybe a few innovators if you guys are like super deep into fashion, but definitely not in the mainstream yet. But the skirts over the trousers, I really see that happening, you guys. I feel like it is moving super fluid with like the gender norm, like skirts are only for girls. Like, no, it's 2021. We can wear whatever the freak we want. The fact that I just said freak, I'm embarrassed. But yeah, I feel like we're just gonna be mixing and matching and having a ball with whatever we want to wear. So for this like expression trend, think like art school, like what they would usually stereotype as like an art school nerd in like the early 2000 like teen movies. She's all that. Like those knitted berets and like a lot of knit clothing.
So knit, yes, but more specifically I was thinking crochet. So we are gonna see crochet in like bucket hats, probably we'll get an update. Beanies, we'll see a lot of knit beanies overall, and a lot of inspiration from that J.W. Anderson that Harry Styles wore cardigan, you know?
But I think that more knitwear is gonna kind of take off. Like Paloma Wool, I feel like is a really great designer to look at for this kind of trend. Let me bring up some other designers that I feel like are just kind of the vibe. I'm gonna put up the designer here because I don't even want to butcher their name, but they're from Barcelona and they do a lot of really cool knitwear, kind of similar to like a Missoni, you know, like that knitwear in the 70s. I feel like the 70s and the early 2000s are definitely going to be like the decades that we're going to kind of look to for inspiration this year. House of Sunny I already mentioned, but I feel like they're also super popular right now. Oh my gosh, look at this check print. Like this is going to be the wave, and it's going to just blow up even further. Like everybody, I mean, I'm sure you've already seen some of your influencers, but again, you have to remember that it's they're kind of like early adopters because they're getting sent these things. I feel like all of this that we kind of saw in 2020 hasn't quite hit, but I think it's going to just be more and more apparent. This is like another example, like this Charlotte Knowles. It's very this. But yeah, I feel like even maybe like knitted berets will be a thing. Just more knit, more knit. Everything knit. Doesn't even matter. From pants to maybe shoes, like some house slipper situations, bodysuits, like everything knit. Everything's gonna be knit. So obviously I've been talking about 2001, the early 2000s. Talk about which trends from the 2000s we'll be seeing in 2021. Like I mentioned, it is all about the hip. These hips don't lie, baby. Whether it be the hips on your bod or like hip hop. I feel like hip hop music will blow up, and I feel like it's going to be super influential in the way that people are dressing. For instance, the way that the fur lined jackets that we've been seeing from like Sax Pot or like House of Sunny, maybe it can transform into like a fur lined puffer, which is like so hip hop, you know, year 2001. The puffers are already pretty popular. I'm seeing a lot of them this winter season, and they've gotten like shorter. Like I feel like the puffers have been around for a little bit, but now they're like those shorter ones. Okay, like think Missy Elliott here. Fur line, that puffer, that bubblegum pink. Oh, I forgot to mention the colors that I feel like are going to be really prominent this year. I meant to do this in like the expression umbrella, but I feel like this kind of pink, and also I feel like pale blue. I don't know, there's something about that like periwinkle blue that's very early 2000s to me. I had some nails, I'm gonna leave them right here. This blue right here, I feel like this is gonna be really popular. It also just has like this kind of calming vibe to it, and also I feel like it ties into like the juicy couture sweatsuits that were super popular in the 2000s. I have been seeing them a little bit more and more, not quite all over the place, but they did have a really successful collaboration with Parade. It's already on the up and up, you know? More velour sweatsuits, which is so hip hop. And back to these hips. These hip cutouts are everywhere, and I feel like it's very flossy. I had actually named this umbrella Y2K Flossy. I don't know if you guys can see that, but it's Y2K Flossy because we're just seeing a lot of little strings on our clothes, whether it be on a top that's strapped up, still exposing some skin, or if it's on your like yoga pants and some little flossy string attached, almost mimicking that early 2000s thong or G-string that was just everywhere. And I also mentioned yoga pants. Yoga pants were it in the early 2000s. So we are going to be seeing this in different fabrications, but kind of like those more relaxed fit, almost like a little bit of a bell at the bottom. You can see that happening for a lot of these like groovy pants, but also just in your neutrals, and also in a V shape, because we are going to be exposing more of our midriff. But these are just a few examples that we saw already presented to us in the spring summer 2021 runway show. So like Laquan Smith, Dion Lee, Versace, Jacques Mus, Fendi, Victoria Beckham, low-rise jeans. I talked about it before and you guys threw me so much shade plaid. And I'm like, bro, I'm not advocating for a low-rise jean, but I'm just saying we're gonna see it, you know? And like, I know, I'm not ready for a low-rise jean. And you don't have to wear them, you guys, just because they're trending. The whole thing, like, I love to like research trends and like figure out why things are happening, but listen, and aware of the trends, never a slave to them. If it doesn't sit well with you, then you don't have to wear it. And if you want to wear it 5 years from now, if you've been wearing them 5 years ago, like, it doesn't really matter. I'm just talking about like why we're seeing these trends and like what we're going to be seeing. And I finally found an audience that actually would care to listen to me for 40 minutes. Let's see how long this video is going to be. So yeah, low-rise jeans, we've been seeing them, and I told y'all like 2 years ago, we're gonna continue to see them. It's gonna be a norm. Another thing, back to like the sequin moment. Okay, in the early 2000s, there was these specific type of sequin that are like bigger paillettes, and they were on bags in like a knitted, again, the knit, I'm telling you, the knit, and maybe even these sequin bags, God Lord, those bags were super popular. So I can kind of see that happening just because it ties in with like everything, you know, like the knit, the sequin. Maybe it'll be like a quick trend. I can also see this in like dresses, like maybe halter tops, like maybe even like handkerchief type tops. Also, because we are exposing our midriff more, belly chains are back. I feel like those like thin, like think Beyonce. And then also I feel like we will start to see an introduction of more girls piercing their belly buttons again. Yeah, for sure. Let me know in the comments below if you ever had them, if you're like around my age. I never did. I was never like that cool. I was never like that bitch. Because you know, girls that have the belly rings, they were honestly like that bitch. Like, that was never me. Also, I feel like handkerchief, ooh, I hate that word. Handkerchief tops will be really popular. I feel like we're going to be seeing them in a lot of like metallic material. You guys know, just like those long tops. I'm thinking like Tyra Banks for some reason, Coyote Ugly maybe, I'm thinking, but we'll just be seeing a lot of those types of tops. Also, another early 2000 trend that will resurface and have a lot of popularity this year is Gap. I feel like Gap is going to be like a moneymaker. It's going to be very talked about this year. I already started seeing Gap sweaters on freaking Poshmark for like $75. Ones that you can literally find at the thrift store. But hey, get your coin, boo. But aside from that, I just feel like it looks very collegiate, and I was kind of talking about this in my 2020 trends, like very collegiate, preppy. It's gonna continue that trajectory of like the sweater vest, and I think we're gonna be seeing more Letterman jackets. Like, I predicted this last year, and I didn't quite see that many Letterman jackets. This kind of block collegiate lettering coming back into our lives. Yes, Gap is it. And mainly I'm saying it is going to be really popular because also they have a collab coming out with Yeezy, with Kanye, and I'm honestly like curious about it. It's obviously going to be super accessible, super mainstream. I mean, it's Gap. And then also, whatever happened to the Gap and Telfar collab? I feel like Telfar was like it in 2020. Like, everybody wanted a Telfar bag, even though we had nowhere to sport it except our kitchens and our living rooms. So I mean, that's just like a telling sign that Gap is really trying to like come back. It's so funny because like when I was in, like, my major in college was fashion merchandising, and in one of my classes we would always talk about Gap as like the bad example. Like, they're so lost, they don't know what to do anymore. Like, they had their moment in like the early 2000s, you know, and now they're just like trying everything and they don't stand for anything. Like, we just don't know what to do with you. Like, who is the Gap customer? So it's just, yeah, I don't know, maybe they're finally figuring it out. I mean, I like the direction that they're going in. You know, they're really gonna go hard on millennials and older Gen Z, I think. Yeah, another trend is ripped jeans. I think distressed denim is going to be more and more popular. It also just goes really well with this new silhouette of jeans where it's like more relaxed fit, more baggy. Let me take a breather, my throat literally hurts. I never talk this much. I haven't talked this much in like 5 days. So next we have comfort. That's our other big theme of 2021, and obviously it is the effect of 2020 pandemic. So more loungewear is obvious, more workout wear is obvious, yoga pants I already mentioned. I feel like there's also going to be those people that just got so comfortable in their sweats and loungewear that you can't peel them off of their body, and it's just gonna turn into almost like a basic bitch.
Calling all the basic bitches.
I mean this in like a loving just like fashion to fashion girl, but you know exactly what I mean. Just like very plain in middle America kind of vibe, but it's gonna be cool. Like it's gonna be a little bit ironic that that is the fashion influence that we're seeing. Like that is what is fashionable right now. It's just really minimal, very simple, and kind of boring, honestly. Also, Uggs are back, and it's just kind of ironic, you know, like we know that it's bad, but that's what the early 2000s were all about. It was like so tacky that it's like, ooh, it's kind of cool, like it's kitschy, but in like a cool way. I don't know how to describe it to you guys, but I hope you're following along. Also, brown. I wasn't gonna bring up brown because obviously I feel like you guys know, if you're a follower of fashion, Gen Z brown is the thing, but I feel like it is going to be a bigger color than anybody really thought, and I really see it having the same importance as millennial pink did, and we still love it. But yeah, brown is just super grounding. I feel like connecting back into nature as well. Like we really love these like earthy elements, so it just really makes sense. And I really see this rise of like the hiking aesthetic. I've actually been saying this for a really long time, and it didn't quite hit when I said it, but it's just like every year I feel like I trickle a little bit more up and up and up this like curve, you know. And I feel like the hype beasts are just gonna go ham with this hike trend. So this kind of like mountain core, maybe like Southwest type of vest, maybe even like puffer vests will make their way back. I feel like if you grew up in the early 2000s, if you grew up in the early 2000s, you know, Olive Garden. Olive Garden did have me on lock in the early 2000s. Old Navy had you on lock on the puffer vest. I feel like we'll see a comeback on those as well, thanks to this like hiking core aesthetic. So yeah, kind of like Mountain Man, you know? And then we'll also see the re-entry of the flannel shirt again. And obviously it's like from the 90s, like the grunge, from the punk, like plaid has its history, but I'm just saying like the most recent time that we saw plaid really have that much importance. Like I feel like we left it behind in like 2011. I don't really see a lot of like women or like trendy girls with flannel shirts, but I feel like we will see that again. And it does kind of tie into this like lumberjack, like mountain man, you know? And then also like a little bit punky, which I feel like punk will kind of start making its way back into our lives as well. We also see a big dominance in baggy trousers. Very androgynous again, because I feel like both women and males are wearing these types of trousers, like old man trousers. You can find them again at the thrifts. They're so good. I also feel like with this getting back to nature, this more appreciation of our earth, of our planet, we will continue seeing more consciousness and more brands developing ways in how they can improve their production line, their manufacturing. The needle will continue to move in this more conscious consumption, and conservation will be a really big theme this year. And of course, I couldn't do a trend prediction video without stepping way too much into the future. I don't know if these will make a mark in 2021, but I feel like with the cause of COVID, the effects of it are going to be like antibacterial materials, antibacterial fabrics, and things that will like kind of self-clean and like make us feel safe, especially in cities like New York where it is quite congested, and you know, you have to, you know, take the subway and be around so many different people, like just to stay feeling safe throughout the next couple years. And of course with COVID, we're gonna see more designs designed from the waist up. Very YouTuber life. Y'all don't even know what I got on the bottom, but I will show you. They're just these little trousers. Very comfortable, but I could have been in anything for all you know. So obviously for the Zoom calls, for online school, all the details and the flash will be up here. So maybe some more shoulder details, statement necklaces, statement earrings. We used to have this saying long time ago when I was in middle school, where we would say like, oh yeah, we're G'd up from the feet up. I know you can cringe, it's such a millennial thing to say. Are millennials like the new boomers? But we are. Dressing from the waist up. My last prediction is more house slippers. I feel like major designers that do shoes will come out with like some kind of like cool house slipper. You know what I was thinking about? Like, what if there's these cholo slippers. I'm gonna show you. They're like in corduroy or I think you can get them plain too, but I remember the ones being corduroy, and like you would just wear these out all the time. You can definitely see like some major designer putting like a print on it, or you know, some like really dope color, maybe in like an olive oil color, and like everybody going ham. I don't know, maybe I'm reaching. But that is my last prediction. I hope this was like better. I tried to be a little bit more specific. I was watching my 2020 when I did the reaction video, and I was just like, I need to get more specific this year, you know, because those were definitely like really big ideas, which that's where trends stem from. You can obviously interpret them any way you want. I mean, I'm not telling you these things so you can go out and buy them so you can be the first. I mean, if you want to do that, go ahead. I'm here for you. I'm here to support your fashion decisions, but mainly I just like to, you know, spill the tea, why this is happening, what's going on in the world. I think it's a really fun conversation to have, and I really enjoy having an audience to talk about this with. So yes, thank you for chatting with me. I'm like burning my throat with so much ginger in here. And I would love to hear from you. What specifically in fashion, you know, I do a little bit of makeup, I do a little bit of skincare, I kind of do a little bit of everything, and I do want to dive in deeper with fashion. So let me know in the comments below, what do you want to see? What's missing in your YouTube fashion lineup? I want to provide it for you. Thank you so much for being here. Ciao, and I will see you in my next video.